And hello and welcome to another live stream on my page here as we're getting you set for some Sunday night football tonight. The Vikings and the Falcons. Sunday night football game number 2 of the season. Hopefully it'll be as exciting as last Sunday night's game between the Ravens and the Bills. Be hard to top that. Here tonight, we'll see what we got. First of all, welcome. My name is John, Sports Bonanza John, my YouTube page here. I'm also on Twitch tonight at Sport Guru John. Also have some content on Kick, Sports Kick John as well. Sunday night football game number 2 of the season, Falcons and Vikings. We will talk about that shortly. But before I begin any live stream, I do always start off the evening or afternoon, whatever the case, with a prayer. Let's do that right now. Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. Look over us all, Lord. And thank you for your protection on all of us, Lord. And just with what's going on right now, we need you right now. And just look over us all, Lord. And also keep everybody safe in this game tonight, fans and players alike. And just look over us all. And with your protection, just keep us all safe, Lord, as we ask you this in Jesus' name. Amen. Falcons and Vikings. This game features Michael Penix at quarterback for the Falcons, J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback for the Vikings. These two teams these two quarterbacks, I should say, met in the college football championship game 2 seasons ago. Michael Penix, of course, at Washington, J.J. McCarthy at Michigan, the year Michigan won the college football championship. Now they're going to face each other as NFL quarterbacks for the first time as the Falcons come in 0-1. Vikings 1-0, Falcons losing at home in a tight one to the Buccaneers last week, 23-20. Vikings coming back in that Monday night game in Chicago to win this past Monday. So the Vikings look to start off 2-0. Green Bay Packers in the NFC North are already 2-0. Falcons look to get into the win column. The Saints and Panthers have already started 0-2 in the NFC South. Falcons do not want to join those two. Tampa Bay, the other team in that division, they play tomorrow night in Houston against the Texans. That'll be the home opener for the Houston Texans. Had some great games around the league so far today. Possibly the however you want to call it, strangest ending or the most unpredictable ending happened in the end of that Broncos-Colts game. The Colts set up for a 60-yard field goal. The kick was wide. We thought the Broncos had come out of Indianapolis with a 2-point win, but there was a leverage call on the field goal. The Colts got another chance from 15 yards closer, and Spencer Strider kicked the game-winning 45-yard field goal. And the Colts beat the Vikings 29-28. Colts off to a 2-0 start. Another, I don't want to say controversial end to the game in that Jaguars-Bengals game. Bengals getting the late touchdown to win that game. A very questionable pass interference call in that game against Travis Hunter that kept the drive alive, and the Bengals drove for the game-winning score. Joe Burrow was injured in that game. Jake Browning came in and led the Bengals back to the comeback win. So the Bengals are 2-0 on the season, as are the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams 2-0 as they won in Tennessee today, 33-19. Bills off to a 2-0 start as well. They walloped the Jets at MetLife 30-10. Game wasn't really even that close. 49ers got the victory today. They're 2-0. They beat the Saints 26-21, and the Cowboys got their first win as it came down to the final play of overtime, but a game-winning field goal at the overtime gun won it for Dallas 40-37 over the Giants. So the Cowboys got in the win column earlier today. We are set for this Sunday night football affair between the Falcons and the Vikings, home opener for the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium as they look to go to 2-0 on this young season. Excuse me. Looking to go 2-0 on the young season are the Minnesota Vikings. So we will see if J.J. McCarthy pretty much MIA the first 3 quarters in that Monday night game last week in Chicago. But boy, did he show up in the fourth quarter and pretty much single-handedly led that comeback for the Vikings win in Chicago. So we are just about set to go on a Sunday night in Minneapolis. Final game on the Sunday, 2 Monday night games coming up tomorrow. I will be on a live stream tomorrow night for that Buccaneers-Texans Monday night game, and we also got the Chargers and the Raiders. That's a coaching matchup. Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll. Let's just say those two are not exactly real good friends. So that's coaching matchup. They had history back in college when both were coaching in college. So that should be an interesting Monday night game tomorrow night. But here we go, getting set for the Falcons and the Vikings. From US Bank Stadium, one of the cooler designs of an NFL stadium. They're in downtown Minneapolis. A packed house for the home opener for the Minnesota Vikings. And a sea of purple in the stands. The old tradition that they do before every Vikings game, they bring out a former Minnesota Viking and does the Skol Vikings cheer, where they do the little clap thing that they do. It's Jared Allen. Boy, what a career he had. That's coming out and doing the cheer tonight. And blowing into the, I don't know what you call that big horn. I know it has a name. I'm not foghorn, whatever that big horn is called. That tradition they have in Minneapolis every year. We will see the Vikings get the football first. Or excuse me, we'll see the Falcons get the football first. The Vikings are going to be kicking off to the Falcons. And we are underway on a Sunday night in Minneapolis. And this will be a touchback to start it out. And the Falcons will come on offense for the first time, and we will look at quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix had a pretty good game last week in the Falcons loss at home to Tampa Bay. As the Falcons will start this drive at the 35 following the touchback. So here comes Penix and the Atlanta Falcons. First offensive play of the game is a running play, and it's a good run across the 40, 45, 50. Look out. And down to the Minnesota 40-yard line. And on the first play of the game, Bijan Robinson goes for 25 yards and a Falcons first down. Bijan Robinson broke a couple tackles there, and it was off to the races, and he picks up 25 yards on the game's first offensive play. And on one play, the Falcons are down into Vikings territory. And it goes right back to Robinson again, this time on the right side. Robinson, another big gainer inside the 25 to the 23-yard line, 17 more for Bijan Robinson. That's 42 yards on 2 carries for Robinson. He only had 24 yards rushing the whole game last week. Did have 100 yards receiving. But on 2 plays, the Falcons are inside the Vikings 25. And they'll go to him once again. Robinson gets inside the 20, picks up about 5 more. And on 3 plays, the Falcons are already into the Vikings red zone. Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback for the Falcons, he threw for 298 last week in their loss to the Buccaneers. But it's been 3 plays, all runs to Bijan Robinson to start this game. And the Falcons at the Vikings 18-yard line. 2nd down and 5. And for the 4th time, it's a running play. This time, Robinson got bit by the turf monster as he slips after only a 1-yard gain, and it'll be 3rd down and 4. Falcons need 4 on this 3rd down. $48 yards on this opening drive for the Falcons, all running plays for Bijan Robinson. They need to get just shy of the Vikings 13 for a 1st down here. And we're going to have a timeout already called by Atlanta as the play clock was just about to expire. So with 12:16 to go in this 1st quarter, Falcons have to take an early timeout to avoid a delay of game penalty. So a great starting drive for the Falcons. They've done it all on the ground. But they have a 3rd and 4 situation here for the Falcons and 2nd-year head coach Raheem Morris. Falcons just missed the playoffs a season ago, going 8-9 last year. 3rd down 4 here after the timeout. Football sitting just inside the 18-yard line. Penix will throw for the first time. We've got flags now before the play starts, and that's going to be a penalty against Atlanta. Adrian Hill, our referee tonight. That's going to be a false start against Bijan Robinson, so that'll make it 3rd down and 9, and more than likely pretty much a definite passing situation now. Falcons need 9 to keep the drive alive. Penix out of the gun. Penix takes the snap, low snap. Penix looking, Penix throwing, pass complete and short of the 1st down, however, by about 1.5 yards. The reception made by Kyle Pitts. And what does Raheem Morris do on 4th and about 1.5 yards? And the Falcons at the moment are leaving the offense on the field. They need about 1.5 yards on this 4th down. Football sits right at the 15. They need to get to about the 13.5-yard line for a 1st down. And another, well, now it's going to be, they didn't get the timeout in time this time. As the play clock expired, now the Falcons are probably going to have to settle for a field goal try. They had to take a timeout earlier in the drive to avoid a delay game. This time, they do not get the play off before the play clock expired, and you can bet the crowd noise has something to do with that, as it is deafening at US Bank Stadium. So the Falcons will bring on Parker Romo to try a 38-yard field goal and get the Falcons on the board first. The kick by Romo is up, and the kick is good. Just snuck it inside the left upright. And the Falcons do get 3 out of it. Parker Romo, the new Falcons kicker, replacing Younghoe Koo. So the Falcons do get points, and they take an early 3-0 lead, 11-12 remaining in the opening quarter. Drive for the Falcons took 6 plays and 45 yards, took 3 minutes 48 seconds, resulting in a 38-yard field goal from Romo and an early 3-0 lead for Atlanta. So we will see the Vikings offense come out for the first time following this timeout here. So Bijan Robinson ended up with 47 yards rushing on that first offensive series on 4 carries. He was responsible for 47 of the 55 yards on that opening drive. Other finals from earlier today, NFC North battle, the Lions just absolutely destroyed the Bears today, 52-21. That's 2 division losses to start the season for the Bears. Bit of a surprising score to me happened there in Pittsburgh. The Steelers fall at home to the Seahawks, 31-17. And told you about that frantic finish in Indianapolis with the Colts kicking that 45-yard field goal after Spencer Strader was given a second chance after the Denver penalty. Colts win that game 29-28. Cardinals had a big lead and then hung on to beat the Panthers 27-22. And the most anticipated game of the day was that Super Bowl rematch in Kansas City between the Eagles and Chiefs, and the Eagles beat the Chiefs again 20-17. That drops the Chiefs to 0-2 to start the season. So kind of surprising to see an 0-2 record for Kansas City to start the season. They head to the Giants next Sunday. I believe that's the Sunday night game next week. So one of those teams is going to be looking at an 0-3 start. But we're about to get our first look at J.J. McCarthy of the Vikings. Again, led that fourth quarter comeback last week in Chicago. 21-point fourth quarter last week for the Vikings in that comeback win in Chicago. Kickoff taken at the 2-yard line, across the 10, 15, 20, 25-yard line, and a decent return up to the 27-yard line. So J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings will start inside their own 30 on their first series of the football game. Right at the 27-yard line. McCarthy sets up in the shotgun on first down. McCarthy takes the snap. McCarthy to throw in his first play of the game, and the pass is going to be a catch along the left sideline. Not much of a gain, a 2-yard pickup. Jalen Naylor on the reception. Fourth-year wide receiver out of Michigan State. And a gain of 2 on first down. So J.J. McCarthy, his second year out of Michigan, led Michigan to the national championship 2 seasons ago. And the toss on second down, and this will be a running play that goes absolutely nowhere. Good defense for the Falcons that time. And the Vikings are going to be set up with a 3rd and long as Aaron Jones Sr. gets nothing on that second down run. Third down 7. They do give Jones a yard on that. So it's a football sitting just shy of the 30-yard line. Out of the gun, J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy in trouble and now has room to run and is going to be brought down at the 36. Tries to reach for the first down marker, and it depends on the spot. They do mark about a half yard short. And it's going to be a quarterback keeper for McCarthy. Ooh, I don't know. He only needed about a half yard. I'm not sure he got there. The Atlanta defense may have just got a fourth down stop. They sure think they did. And it is a turnover on downs. The Falcons defense with a fourth down stop. Raheem Morris, the Falcons coach, fired up on the sideline. On 4th and a half yard, J.J. McCarthy was absolutely stuffed. And a turnover on downs, and the Falcons will start on the Vikings end of the field. So first down at the Vikings 36. Handoff. This is right back to Robinson on first down, right side. Robinson will pick up about 6 more to the 30-yard line. Just looking at one of my responses, I answered somebody on a live chat here. I've got to learn some grammar. All right. Anyway, Robinson picks up 6 yards on first down. Penix rolls out on second down. It's a screen pass to Robinson. Robinson has a first down across the 25 up to the 20-yard line. It looked like Penix was on the verge of getting sacked, but at the last moment threw the screen pass to Robinson, and he picks up 10 more in a first down. I thought that may have hit the ground, and it did hit the ground. I don't think that this is going to come back. This is not a completed pass. I don't know if Kevin O'Connell threw the challenge flag or if it's just automatically got buzzed down, but this is going to be 3rd down and 6. This is not, or 3rd down and 4. This is not going to be a completed pass. Clock is stopped with 8:44 to play in the first quarter. And they have reversed it now to an incompletion. So 3rd down and 4. Falcons football at the 30 of Minnesota. Penix out of the gun. Penix takes the snap. Penix looks. Penix throws. Pass complete. First down Atlanta inside the 20 to the 15-yard line. On 3rd and 4, it was a completion of 15. It'll be 1st and 10 Falcons. Kyle Pitts with the reception. His 2nd catch of the quarter. Pitts had 7 catches a week ago when the Falcons lost to the Buccaneers. Already 2 catches here in the first quarter. First down at the 15. Penix out of the gun. Penix throws. Pass caught to Robinson. Robinson out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Pass completion of 4 yards will bring up second down and 6 for the Falcons. Boy, Bijan Robinson has had a busy first quarter. He's rushed 5 times for 54 yards, and that was his second reception of the quarter. Two catches for 10 yards. 2nd and 5. Ball sitting just shy of the 10-yard line. Penix takes the snap. Penix looks. Penix throws right at the first down marker, but unable to haul it in was Bijan Robinson, and it's 3rd down. Pass was a little bit behind him, and Robinson couldn't quite corral it in. 3rd and a long 5. Falcons need about 5.5 on this 3rd down. Penix again takes the snap out of the gun. Penix going left. Penix throwing, end zone, incomplete. Had a man in the corner there, Darnell Mooney, but the pass was a little short, and Mooney couldn't quite come down with it, and here comes another field goal try for Atlanta. Parker Romo coming back out. He hit on the last drive from 38. This one will be from 29, shorter than an extra point. And puts it right through to give the Falcons 3 more. And now a 6-0 lead for Atlanta with 6:48 to go in the first quarter in Minneapolis. So the Falcons 2 drives into the red zone, but only able to come out with 2 field goals out of it. And we will see J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings offense back out on the field. That was a 7-play, 26-yard drive for Atlanta. Took exactly 2.5 minutes, and a Romo 29-yard field goal. And a Falcons 6-0 lead. Total yards currently sits 81-9 in favor of the Falcons. So let's see how J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings do on the second drive. They were stopped on 4th down, their first drive. Looking ahead for these 2 teams next week, the Falcons have another division battle next week. They had to take on the Panthers next week. Vikings will remain at home next week to take on the Bengals. That looks like a pretty good matchup on paper for next week. So it is 6-0, 6:48 remaining in this first quarter. And the Vikings about to get the football for the second time. In a packed U.S. Bank Stadium on a Sunday night in downtown Minneapolis. 2 more games tomorrow, a Monday night doubleheader tomorrow. Buccaneers and Texans and Chargers Raiders. The 2 Monday night games tomorrow. I will be on a live stream for that Buccaneers-Texans game tomorrow. Would like to live stream both of them, but I'm here in the Eastern time zone, and that second game's not going to start till 10:15. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it through that one, so I'm probably only going to have to be able to live stream the one tomorrow. Here's the kickoff. Taken in the end zone a yard deep, and it's going to get run out across the 10, 15, 20-yard line and down at the 23-yard line. There is a flag on the play as well, so we'll check out the flag. And it's going to push the Vikings back even further inside their 20. So the Vikings will start this drive at the 14. First down and 10. McCarthy under center this time, and here's a handoff. And it's Jones. Jones across the 20 up to the 21-yard line. A good 7-yard pickup for Aaron Jones on first down. Jones rushed for over 1,100 yards a season ago. Second down 3, football sitting at the 21-yard line. And it goes right back to Jones on a handoff, and Jones is going to be stopped after a gain of about a yard, setting up third down and 2 for Minnesota. Jordan Mason checking in for the Vikings as the back on this third down play. Vikings need a couple on third down. McCarthy backs up into the shotgun this time. McCarthy takes the snap. McCarthy pressured. McCarthy sacked. On third down and 2, Atlanta brought some pressure and was able to get to McCarthy. Sack for the Falcons for James Pierce Jr., a rookie out of Tennessee. And it's a 3-and-out for Minnesota. So the Falcons should get pretty good field position out of this. And here's the punt. Fair catch called and made. That's a heck of a punt. And the fair catch back at the 27-yard line. So that's where the Falcons will start this next drive. 4:35 to go, opening quarter, leading 6-0 over the Vikings. Up to give you an update on my upcoming live stream schedule for the week. Again, as I mentioned, I'll be on tomorrow night for the Monday night football game between the Buccaneers and the Texans. Buccaneers look to start off 2-0. They beat this Atlanta Falcons team last week. Texans falling in Inglewood against the Rams last week. Low-scoring affair that was. Then would like to be on with you Tuesday night. That's going to depend on my work schedule. I do still have a full-time job, so my work schedule is a little weird on Tuesday, so it's going to depend on that. If I'm not able to be on Tuesday, I will definitely be on the air Wednesday night. That will be a Major League Baseball stream, Cleveland and Detroit. Cleveland still trying to get in the playoffs as a wild card team. The Tigers more than likely headed to an AL Central title and a playoff berth. That'll be Wednesday night, and then also we'll have a Major League Baseball stream for you on Thursday night. The Cubs and the Reds will be that stream on Thursday. And then we'll have 2 college football live streams for you on Saturday. Pretty much know what the schedule's going to be, but I will officially announce it during my live stream tomorrow night. I always do 2 college football games every Saturday on my stream, 1 FCS game and 1 FBS game. I'm 95% sure of what the schedule of games is going to be Saturday, but again, I'll have an official announcement on that tomorrow night. But back to this one, it is a 6-0 lead for Atlanta, and they will start their 3rd offensive series of the game from their own 27-yard line. The crowd noise definitely affecting the Falcons in this game. Michael Penix knows them a couple times on these last couple series going the sideline saying he cannot hear. That probably came into play as to why that play clock came into effect about 2 or 3 plays already. Penix out of the shotgun on first down. Penix fakes the handoff. Penix throws to an open receiver. Pass is caught up to the 30-yard line. We do have a flag. We'll see what this is. Pass reception there by Tyler Allgeier, but we'll check the flag. Well, I thought we were going to get the call from Adrian Hill, and now he goes back to make sure. And it's going to be illegal contact on Minnesota. Falcons will take that, and that carries a first down. Guilty party for the Vikings on the illegal contact was Byron Murphy Jr., 7th-year cornerback out of Washington. So now it's 1st and 5, or 1st and 10 rather, after the penalty of 5 yards at the 33-yard line. Penix takes the snap. Here's a handoff, and across the 35 up to the 38-yard line. Tyler Allgeier with the carry, and he picks up 5 yards on first down. As we've ticked under 4 minutes to play, quarter number 1. 6-0 lead for Atlanta. This is a Vikings team that went 14-3 a season ago, 14-3, and had to settle for a wild card because the Lions were 15-2 in the NFC North. And the Vikings lost in the wild card round handily last year to the Rams. They got a little bit of bad taste in their mouth from last year, trying to correct that this year. Here's another handoff to Allgeier on 2nd and 5, and Allgeier is going to get up to the 44-yard line. Picks up 6 and a Falcons first down. Tyler Allgeier playing running back right now in his 4th year out of BYU. His 4th season, this is an amazing stat. 4th season, still has never fumbled the football. And he's had almost 600 carries without a fumble in 3+ seasons. Penix fakes the handoff this time. Now we'll throw pass complete. That's Pitts again with the reception, and another first down for the Falcons. 13-yard reception from Penix to Pitts. And the Falcons, for the 3rd time in 3 series, are on the Vikings side of the field. Boy, the Vikings just about a step away now, about 3 or 4 times from sacking Penix. But just a step late. First down at the 44 of Minnesota for Atlanta. And now we've got flags. This is going to cost the Falcons 5, it looks like. And it is a false start. Kyle Pitts actually guilty of the false start right there, so that'll move it back 5, and now it'll be 1st and 15. Under 2 minutes and counting to play, quarter number 1. First quarter that has been absolutely one-sided so far, but the Falcons, out of all that, have only been able to salvage 2 field goals out of their first 2 series. Penix rolling to his right, throws, pass complete, first down, fumble the football, and the Vikings are going to recover. The pass was complete to Drake London, and Drake London fumbled the football, and the Vikings were right there to recover, and a turnover against Atlanta on their 3rd series. Drake London with the reception. Eric Wilson popped the ball out of London's hands. And I believe it was Theo Jackson that recovered for Minnesota. And a big turnover for the Vikings defense. And they will get the football following the Atlanta turnover. And that fumble return was returned to the 32-yard line, so that's where Minnesota will start their 3rd drive of the game. They are still looking for their first down of the football game. As the Vikings have only been able to salvage 8 yards of offense in the first 2 series. But they get the turnover here. And now let's see if the offense can take advantage of that defensive takeaway the Vikings gave them. Look in the NFL schedule, some featured games next week. As I mentioned, this Vikings team will host the Bengals next week. If the Vikings win this game tonight, that'll be a battle of 2-0 teams next week. There is for sure a battle of 2-0 teams next week, the Rams and the Eagles. That's a rematch of a divisional round game a season ago. Cardinals and 49ers in an NFC West battle next week. That's a battle of 2-0 teams. Next Sunday night, Chiefs and Giants. Loser of that game starts off 0-3. So following the Falcons turnover, the Vikings will start at the 32-yard line, minute 28 to play in this first quarter. McCarthy and the Vikings back out on offense. McCarthy takes the snap, throws, pass complete, and that's going to be the first down of the game for the Vikings. Completion to Justin Jefferson. Correction, it's not a first down. He made the catch at the 43-yard line, but his momentum took him out of bounds at the 41. And that's where they're going to mark it, 2nd and 1. Over 1,500 yards receiving a season ago for Justin Jefferson. McCarthy hands off to Mason, and Mason's not going to get there. In fact, he's going to lose a yard on 2nd down. Falcons defense again right there up to the challenge, and it'll be 3rd down and 2 for this Vikings offense. Vikings need 2 for the first, and they will have to snap it before the quarter ends. There's a 2-second, the play clock's 2 seconds ahead of the game clock. McCarthy gets the snap. Mason will run for a first down on the final play of the first quarter. On 3rd down and 2, Mason runs for 3, and the Vikings finally get their first down of the game on the final play of the first quarter. End of one in Minneapolis, a quarter that was pretty much one-sided in favor of the Falcons, but they were only able to get 2 field goals out of it, and then they turned the ball over. And they only lead at 6-0 after 1. We run down these total stats after the first quarter. If you're a Vikings fan, you're going to think you're very lucky the Vikings are only down by 6. Vikings defense held strong once Atlanta got deep into Minnesota territory and held them to 2 field goals. Total yardage, 122 for the Falcons, just 18 for the Vikings. Falcons 6 first downs in that first quarter. Vikings had 1. That was on the final play of the quarter. Vikings getting their first down. Michael Penix, individual stats, 5 for 8 passing the football in the first quarter for the Falcons for 57 yards. Bijan Robinson, the leading rusher, 5 carries, 54 yards. Of Michael Penix's 5 completions, 3 of them were to his tight end, Kyle Pitts. He got 34 yards on those 3 receptions. J.J. McCarthy threw just 2 passes in that first quarter, did complete them both for 11 yards. Aaron Jones, 3 carries, just 9 yards. But that big turnover for Atlanta has given the Vikings a chance here. Time of possession, Falcons had the ball for almost 9.5 minutes in that first quarter compared to Minnesota's 5.5 minutes. But you look at the scoreboard and it's only a 6-0 lead for the Falcons as we are just about set to start quarter number 2 from downtown Minneapolis at US Bank Stadium. Talk about Raheem Morris of the Falcons, the head coach of the Falcons, just missing the playoffs a season ago, 8-9 record. Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Vikings, 14-3 a season ago, had to settle for a wild card berth, and then they lost handily in the wild card round at the Rams. So Kevin O'Connell, in his 4th year as Vikings head coach, still looking for his first postseason win as the Vikings look to hope to get back to postseason play this year. Underway, quarter number 2. McCarthy takes the snap and the pass underneath and a completion to Mason. And Mason able to pick up about 3 yards on that first down pass. And it'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Vikings. Second down for Minnesota from the 45. McCarthy again fakes the handoff, rolls to his left. Now McCarthy's just going to get what he can, and he'll run out of bounds after a 2-yard pickup at the 47-yard line. Setting up 3rd down and it'd be about 3rd and a long 5. Minute-old second quarter. Vikings need about 5.5 on this 3rd down. They need to get to the just inside the Falcons' 48-yard line. McCarthy back to the gun, takes the snap. McCarthy throws right side. Open man reception, 1st down, Minnesota. That's good for a Falcons 1st down. or for a Vikings first down, rather. Pass completion to Jalen Naylor for 12 yards. So McCarthy has completed his first 4 passes. And back to the ground he goes. And this is Mason. Mason up to the 40-yard line. Second down for the Vikings. Second down, Minnesota. Football sitting at I said the 40. It's the 35-yard line. And now we've got movement. This is going to cost the Vikings 5. It's going to be a false start. Will Fries, the 5th-year guard out of Penn State, guilty of the false start there for the Minnesota. First year with the Vikings, coming over from the Colts. Both teams have been penalized 3 times now in this first half. So 2nd and 9 now from the 40. This is another handoff to Mason again, and Mason driving the pile, and he'll pick up 8 yards, going to be about a yard shy of the first down. So Jordan Mason looked like the Falcons had him for about a 4-yard gain, but Mason kept his legs going and drove the tacklers down for about 3 or 4 extra yards. Be 3rd and 1 for Minnesota. Mason now 16 yards on his 4 carries. Vikings need a yard here to keep the drive alive. From the Falcons 32. Here's a handoff, and this will be a first down on 3rd and 1. It's a pickup of 2, and the Vikings move the chains as that's Mason again with the carry. First down at the 30-yard line. Best drive of the game for the Vikings so far, by far. Football sits just shy of the 30. McCarthy in trouble, the rush, and the Falcons are going to get to him. That's the 2nd sack of the half on J.J. McCarthy by the Falcons defense. Leonard Floyd looks like the one that got to McCarthy that time. Veterans in his 10th year out of Georgia. Loss of 8 on that sack brings up 2nd down and 18. Back at the 39. McCarthy throws behind his receiver, and then it was almost picked off on the deflection. 3rd down and long coming up. Divine Diablo almost picked off that pass on a pass that was intended for the tight end, Hawkinson. So now it's 3rd and long, 3rd and 18 for Minnesota. McCarthy with time, throwing, and fires complete on 3rd and no. Or are they saying it's a catch? They are calling it a catch. The ball came loose there at the end, but they're marking Thielen down, and on 3rd and 18, the completion goes for 19 and a first down. His knee hits. Yeah, when his knee hits, it looks like the ball's still in possession. So the Vikings in the red zone for the first time in this game. At the 19-yard line, first down, McCarthy again out of the gun. McCarthy looks. McCarthy throws in toward the end zone. And the catch was made at the 1-yard line by Naylor. First and goal, Minnesota. And we are seeing the J.J. McCarthy that showed up in the fourth quarter in the Monday night comeback win against the Bears last week. McCarthy 5 for 6 on this drive, throwing the football. And the Vikings a yard and a half away from a tying touchdown and the possible go-ahead extra point. McCarthy dropped the ball as he was rolling back, picks it up, now rolls to his right and throws incomplete. Boy, that was almost disaster. McCarthy received the snap and then just absolutely just dropped the ball when he was going to roll to his right. Luckily for him, he was able to recover and tried to find Justin Jefferson in the end zone, but the pass was way too high, and it's second and goal. Boy, J.J. McCarthy, luckily for him, he was able to recover that ball. That could have been disaster right there. Second and goal. This drive has consumed almost 8 minutes. And now we've got flags. This is going to be, the play clock's at 0. The play clock expired. So that's going to cost the Vikings 5 and move it back to the 6.5. Fourth penalty of the half on the Vikings. So from second and goal to 1.5, but with the delay of game penalty, the ball's now back to the 6.5-yard line, second and goal. 8:32 to go in the second quarter. McCarthy fakes the handoff. McCarthy sacked again. The third sack of the first half for the Falcons defense. This time it was Jalon Walker, the rookie out of Georgia, with the sack on McCarthy, and it's third and goal now. Third sack for the Atlanta defense already in this first half. Third and goal back at the 14 now. McCarthy takes the snap. McCarthy and he's going to get sacked again. Back at the 15-yard line. And the drive stalls out in the red zone for the Vikings. And the Vikings will bring on Will Reichard. Reichard hit his career-long field goal last week in Chicago. This field goal attempt will be 33 yards. To try to get the Vikings on the board. Snap is good. The kick is right down the middle, and the Vikings able to get points out of it. But they're disappointed that they couldn't cash in with a touchdown. The Atlanta defense stepped up when it needed to and held the Vikings to 3, and the Falcons keep the lead at 6-3 with 7:06 to play, quarter number 2. A 17-play drive for the Vikings that went 53 yards and consumed 9 minutes, 22 seconds. And they do get a Will Reichard 33-yard field goal out of it. And it's now a 6-3 lead for the Falcons. So both teams have had deep possessions into the red zone, but the goal line defense on both sides has stood up. And the teams have had to combine to settle for just 3 field goals to this point. J.J. McCarthy on that last drive, again, was looking like the J.J. McCarthy we saw in the fourth quarter in Chicago last week. And that comeback win. But unable to finish it off with a touchdown as the Vikings defense now with 4 sacks in this first half on J.J. McCarthy. So we are about to see Michael Penix and that Falcons offense back out onto the field. They were able to keep the lead by holding the Vikings to 3. And they're going to get their first possession of the second quarter. That drive for Minnesota consumed almost 9.5 minutes dating back to the first quarter. And the Falcons, with 7:06 to go in the second quarter, will be set to go on offense following this TV timeout break. Told you about some featured games coming up next week. Next Sunday night, the Chiefs and the Giants. As I mentioned, both those teams 0-2. Will loser of that game's going to start off 0-3. And we've got, it looks like a pretty good one next Monday night in Baltimore, a battle between the Lions and the Ravens. That's going to be a heck of a ball game next Monday night out there in Baltimore. Ravens bouncing back from that tough loss last week in Buffalo. They came back home and just absolutely blew out the Browns today. Lions did the same to the Bears. They put 52 on the Bears today. So we are just about set for the kickoff. Following the Vikings score, a 17-play drive. So we haven't seen the Atlanta offense for a while since the first quarter. Kickoff taken at the 1-yard line, bobbled, picked back up across the 10, 20-yard line and down at the 23-yard line on the return. That was Alford on the return for the Falcons, so they will start this next drive at the 23. And back comes Michael Penix and that Atlanta Falcons offense. Penix, the 8th pick in last year's NFL draft, coming out of Washington. Started off his career at Indiana before transferring to Washington and leading the Huskies to that national championship game appearance where they lost to J.J. McCarthy in Michigan. First down at the 23, Penix the handoff, and a considerable gain here up to about the 30-yard line as that's back to Bijan Robinson. And it'll be 2nd down and 3 for Atlanta. Second down 3. Football sitting right at the 30 for Atlanta. Penix takes the snap. And another give to Robinson. Robinson looks like he's going to be about a half-yard short of the first down as he picks up 2. It'll be 3rd and a yard coming up for Atlanta as the clock approaches 6 minutes to play in the second quarter. Third down, Falcons need a yard. Actually, they don't even need that much. They need about a half yard at best. Penix coming under center for this 3rd and very short. And it'll be a first down to the 35-yard line on 3rd and about a half yard. Allgeier picks up 2, and that'll move the chains for the Falcons. Drive stays alive for Atlanta. They're up to their own 35-yard line. Penix back to the shotgun now. Penix takes the snap. Penix fakes the handoff this time. And now Penix in trouble. Penix is going to get sacked back at the 26-yard line. First sack for the Minnesota defense. A loss of 8 yards on that sack. Looks like Dallas Turner, the second-year linebacker out of Alabama, that got to Michael Penix on that. Second down and long. Penix takes the snap. Penix looking. Penix throws behind his receiver, incomplete. It'll be third and long. Intended receiver was Ray McLeod. Third and long for the Falcons. Clock is stopped with 4:10 to go in the second quarter. And here comes that loud Vikings crowd again. That was a problem in the first quarter for Penix. So he had trouble hearing a few plays. Play clock down again. It's down to 2 seconds. They just get the snap off. Penix looking. It's a screen pass to Robinson. He's got a long way to go, and he's going to get run out of bounds. On 3rd and 20, he picks up about 15. But the Falcons on 4th and 5 probably going to have to punt this football. So the Vikings about to get the football back. They're going to try to go 2 for 1 here, as the Vikings are going to receive the football to start the second half. So they're going to try to get some points here before halftime and then turn around and get the football to start the second half. Here's the punt for Atlanta. Taken at the 13 and hit right there. No fair catch. And great special teams coverage for the Falcons. "46-yard punt, no return." The Vikings are going to be backed up at their 13-yard line with 3:23 remaining in quarter number 2. In a 6-3 lead for Atlanta. I want to mention I will be pausing this live stream at halftime and be pausing for about 10 minutes, and I'll be back right prior to the second half. We'll run down some first half stats, get you ready for the second half, but there will be a brief pause on the live stream coming up at halftime. And it's really been an entertaining first half. It hasn't been exactly, both offenses have. The Vikings offense was MIA in the first quarter, only getting about 19 yards. But both offenses have been moving the football down the field. Falcons moved the ball well offensively in that first quarter, only able to come up with the 2 field goals. And the Vikings have done a good job moving the football on that long sustained drive earlier in this quarter. But neither team's been able to get it into the end zone yet. 140 total yards for Atlanta, 71 for the Vikings. A lot of those in this second quarter. The 6 completions for J.J. McCarthy have been to 4 different receivers so far. And Michael Penix, 6 completions to 3 different receivers. But the defenses have been outstanding. 4 first-half sacks of J.J. McCarthy for the Atlanta defense. Minnesota's been able to get to Michael Penix 1 time for a sack. But the Vikings, with their worst starting field position of the evening, as they're starting this drive at the 13-yard line. with 3:23 to go in the second quarter, trailing by 3. They do have all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Boy, last Monday night's game between the Ravens and the Bills, we had a shootout. Does not appear that's going to be the case in this one, at least not right now. Handoff to Jones on first down, and Jones going to get about 5 yards, just shy of the 20-yard line. Actually, a gain of 6 on first down for Jones. Bring up second down and 4. Vikings like going with a backup center here. Their starting center, Ryan Kelly, is being evaluated for a concussion. Second down and 4. McCarthy takes the snap. McCarthy throws over the middle. That's going to be a first down for Minnesota. Reception for Adam Thielen. First down, Vikings move the chains. Second catch of the half for Thielen. Vikings will have to snap it prior to the 2-minute warning. First down at the 26. McCarthy fakes the handoff. McCarthy throwing right side. Pass is going to be picked off. Intercepted by Atlanta. See who that was? I think it was Billy Bowman Jr. that got the interception for the Falcons. And a big turnover. So both teams now with a turnover in this first half. And the Falcons will start in Minnesota territory. Intended receiver was Naylor, but Bowman was right there to pick it off. So with 2:03 to go in the second quarter, Falcons start this drive at the Vikings 38. Here's a handoff to Robinson. Robinson up to the 35-yard line. That will take us to the 2-minute warning with 1:59 to play in the first half. J.J. McCarthy pick has set the Falcons up for possibly a score going into halftime at 6-3. So an ample scoring chance for the Falcons right before the end of the first half. Because again, the Vikings get the football to start the second half. So the Falcons would love to put an extra additional score on the board before the end of the first half. Again, want to update my live stream schedule on this page coming up. We'll be back with you tomorrow night for a Monday Night Football live stream. The Buccaneers and the Texans. I'll be on for a live stream on that game. Hope to be on with you on Tuesday as well. That would be a Major League Baseball live stream on Tuesday. That's going to depend on my work schedule. My work schedule, I do still have a full-time job. My work schedule is kind of funky on Tuesday. If I'm not able to be on for a live stream on Tuesday night, we'll definitely be on Wednesday and Thursday for 2 Major League Baseball live streams. And then we'll be back with you for a Saturday college football doubleheader on the channel here. We'll officially have the announcement as to what those 2 college football games are going to be tomorrow. I'm pretty 95% sure I know what they're going to be, but I'll have the official announcement as to which games are going to be on the live stream tomorrow. So We're going to be starting a lot of baseball. I've done a few baseball live streams already, but going to be doing a lot more baseball as the regular season is hitting the final countdown here in the regular season of Major League Baseball. So we'll have at least 2 baseball live streams this week, if not 3, depending on that Tuesday one. But back here at the 2-minute warning, 6-3 lead for Atlanta, and the Falcons are at the Vikings 35-yard line off that turnover. Second down and 7 following the 2-minute warning. Falcons with 2 timeouts remaining. Penix back in the shotgun. Oh, this might be a free play. Penix is hit as he released the football, but I think the Vikings were offsides. We're about to get the official call. Got a Viking shaken up on the play as well. Jonathan Greenard, the injured Viking, and it is offsides against Minnesota. I thought I saw someone on the defensive line come across. We also have a penalty on Atlanta, though, so the Vikings get a break there as those penalties are going to be offsetting. Let's see if we can see what happened to Greenard here. Greenard was actually the one that was offsides. Didn't exactly see what happened there. Oh, when he was going to get to Penix, he ran into the Atlanta offensive lineman. It looked like banged up his hip. So we do have an injury timeout. Boy, the Vikings caught a huge break there as they were clearly offsides, but then there was that Atlanta penalty, so that just offset them. And we will do this 2nd and 7 play again following the injury timeout. Also, be on a week from tonight on a live stream as well for Sunday Night Football next week. Chiefs and Giants. Hard to say it's a must-win game in week 3, but the Chiefs are 0-2 following losses to the Chargers and Eagles. Giants are also 0-2, so 18-week season. It's a long season, but again, you don't want to say it's a must-win in week 3, but the loser of that game starts off 0-3, and it's going to be a big uphill climb. So it's about as close to a must-win this early in the season for both these teams as you could possibly have. Especially for the Chiefs, because if the Chargers would win tomorrow against the Raiders, the Chargers would be 2-0 with 2 division wins. The Denver Broncos probably thinking they should be 2-0. Boy, what a odd finish in that one against the Colts today. Broncos thought they had the win on a missed 60-yard field goal by Spencer Strader, but there was a leverage call, so the Colts got one untimed down and a chance to redo the field goal 15 yards closer, and then Strader kicked the game-winning field goal for the Colts in that one. So the Broncos saw a victory get taken away by a leverage penalty, which, looking at the replay on that, by the letter of the book, that was the correct call. I know there's been a lot of Broncos fans on social media about that call, but that, by the letter of the book, and according to the 2025 NFL, that was the correct call. So back out of the timeout here, 2nd down 7. Penix back to the shotgun. Penix takes the snap and the handoff to Robinson. Robinson near first down yardage inside the 30. It'll depend on the spot. Looks like they're going to mark him about a half yard short. Falcons with 2 timeouts, but they're letting the clock tick down here as we're down to 1.5 minutes. Vikings also with 2 timeouts. They had to use one there on the injury to Grenard since we're under 2 minutes. 3rd and about a half yard. Handoff, this will be a first down for Allgeier and a lot more inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. Vikings down into the red zone. First down Atlanta as we're under 1 minute. First down at the 19-yard line, another red zone chance for the Falcons. Penix takes the snap. Penix throws, open receiver is Allgeier, and Allgeier's out of bounds at the 15-yard line. That will stop the clock with 36 seconds. Gain of 4. Falcons have been in the red zone 3 previous times in this game, settled for 2 field goals. Penix now 7 of 11 in this first half for 76 yards. Second and 6 at the 15. Penix takes the snap. Penix looking, throwing, end zone, incomplete. And it'll be 3rd and 6. Mooney, the intended receiver in the end zone. 3rd and 6 coming, 33 seconds on the clock. Falcons need 6 on 3rd down at the 15-yard line. Penix takes the snap. Penix throwing right side, incomplete, out of bounds. And for the 3rd time on 3 red zone trips for the Falcons, they're going to have to settle for a field goal. So Romo coming on to try the field goal. Parker Romo's hit from 38 and 29. This one will be from 33. Good snap, and the kick is up, and the kick is good. Romo is 3 for 3. 3 more for the Falcons, but again, the Vikings defense holds Atlanta to 3. 6-point lead for Atlanta, 25 seconds to play in the first half. Falcons drive 7 plays, 23 yards a minute, 38 seconds, a Romo 33-yard field goal, and a 9-3 lead for Atlanta. So 4 field goals combined is all we've been able to salvage on the scoreboard in this first half. Both teams unable to convert their red zone opportunities into touchdowns so far, and you can credit the defenses for that. So J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings offense has 2 timeouts. And again, they will receive the football, will the Vikings, to start the second half. And the kickoff. Taken at the 3. Across the 15, 20-yard line. And down right there at the 20-yard line with 18 seconds to play in the first half. And don't know that we're going to see anything but maybe a conservative run here with 18 seconds. So first down at the 20 for Minnesota. Well, McCarthy does line up in the shotgun here. McCarthy, high snap. He takes the snap. McCarthy is going to be sacked again for the 5th time in the first half. The Atlanta defense gets the sack on J.J. McCarthy. Brandon Dorless with this sack on McCarthy. Second-year defensive tackle out of Oregon. Timeout called by Minnesota with 12 seconds left. We do have an Atlanta player down. Although he is sitting up. A.J. Terrell Jr., the banged-up Atlanta Falcon, on the play. He is walking off under his own power. A little hobbly, but he is walking off to the sideline. They're going to take a look at him. So with 12 seconds to go, J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings have a 2nd and 13 as McCarthy was just sacked for the 5th time in this first half. Following the timeout, it's 2nd and 13. They're going to give Minnesota their timeout back and charge that timeout to Atlanta since they have the injured defensive player with under 2 minutes on the clock. So here you go, 2nd and 13, 12 seconds remaining. Football at the 17-yard line. McCarthy takes the snap. McCarthy throws across the middle, wide open, Justin Jefferson. And Jefferson inside the 40, 35, 33-yard line, 50-yard pass from McCarthy to Jefferson. Timeout, Minnesota. And that may have just given them a chance to get a field goal here to end the first half. Justin Jefferson was wide open. Boy, he did a great cut move. And the Vikings will have a chance to steal 3 points here before the end of the first half. Reichert made a field goal earlier from 33 yards. This will be from 51 to pull the Vikings within 3 at halftime. Snap is good, and Reichert's kick is good, and the Vikings steal 3 points right before the half. And they go to the locker room trailing by just 3 at 9-6. A 50-yard pass from McCarthy to Jefferson set up this field goal for Will Reichert to end the first half. 9-6, our halftime score. Falcons lead the Vikings. We should be in for a great second half. Again, folks, going to briefly pause this live stream here. We'll be back with you just prior to the second half. We will run down some first half stats and get you prepared for the second half. Brief pause and back with you here in about 10 minutes or so.